Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about a bunch of audio plugins by a company called Accusonus. They reached out to me a few months ago and asked if I'd be interested in trying out some of their plugins for DaVinci Resolve, and I said sure, because if you're like me, loves me some good audio, right? So let's jump into this video. So today we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of plugins that you can go and purchase on the Accusonus website. And real quick, for watching this video, check out the link down below. Accusonus is running a contest where the winner is going to receive some of their plugins for free. So go down, sign up through that link, and they will select the winner once the contest is over. But in this video, I'm going to be showing you the plugins that they sent me. I'm going to show you how to get them from their website, download them, install them on your machine, and how to use them in DaVinci Resolve. So once we get into DaVinci Resolve, I'm going to show you a couple of examples for each one of the plugins so you can see how they work. I did go ahead and download all the sample files that Accusonus has on their website to see how they work with the plugins, but then I thought it was important to also do some real-world tests and take my camera, go film some of my own footage, and use a small clip of my own footage and try out some of these plugins there too, because I always assume it's going to work with the files that they give me, but what about the real world? How does it actually work with my footage? So one of the key things about these plugins is that they have one main dial. You adjust that one dial and you don't have to deal with any of the other technical stuff of what it's actually doing behind the scenes. So you don't need to know about EQ, dynamics, gates, all these other kind of things that some of us audio nerds like. But with these plugins, you just have one dial. You can just adjust that one dial and get the sound that you're looking for. Check out the links down below. I'll leave some time codes to where you can jump to specific ones you might be interested in. So let's go jump over to the computer and we'll check it out. First thing you need to do is head on over to the Accusonus website and take a look for the product that you want to purchase. So in this case, we're on our main page here. I'm going to come to the store, and the bundle that we're going to be looking at today is this bundle right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And within this bundle, we've got several different tools here. We're going to have a noise remover, a reverb remover, a voice leveler, a De-Esser, a Plosive Remover, and a declipper. So you can go ahead and come to buy, fill out your information, and purchase your product. Once you go ahead and complete your purchase, you'll receive an email that has all of your activation keys in it. And you can see we have one key for each product here. So now we're going to go ahead and download all these tools, get them installed on our machine, and get them into DaVinci Resolve so we can use them. So I'm going to come back to the website here. I'm on their homepage, and I'm going to come to Downloads. So this is where you would download the installer for any one of the products. If you purchase just one product, or if you purchase the whole bundle, you would install them using one of these installers right here. So I'm going to download the one for Mac and get started installing them on my Mac. Once you download the files, go find them in your downloads folder. And here you see I've got a package file right here, and that's what I'm going to double click on to start the install process. And a quick note, you do have some instructions here that you can follow if you need more information or you're having trouble installing them. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the package to open this guy up. And on Mac here, this is your typical install window. But when you get to installation type here, you'll see that we have the ERA Bundle 4, and it's got a little drop-down menu. So if you open this drop-down menu, it's got all of the different products. So if you only purchased one of these, you don't need to install all of them. Just select the ones that you need to install. So I'm just going to go ahead and put them all in there, although this ERAD, I don't think I have that one, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. And you can send the usage analytics if you want to. And click continue. When the installation is complete, it's going to let you know. Go ahead and click close. You can move to the trash. I'm going to close my window here. Now I'm going to jump right into DaVinci Resolve. And we want to jump over into the Fairlight tab, which is the musical notes at the bottom here. In order to access all of these plugins, you want to come over to Effects in your mixer. And if you don't see your mixer, come at the top here and click Mixer. Come to your effects and click on the plus. The fastest way to get to all of the new plugins, come to Uncategorized and come down to AU. Now I notice sometimes it's under VST and sometimes AU, so just check both of those and you should be able to find the plugins. And another quick note, underneath these different categories, you also have other places where the plugins appear. For example, right here, Noise Reductions, VST, you can see the plugins all appear here. So you've got a few different ways to access the plugins. And the first time you go to open these up, you're going to get this window right here. So you want to come and click on Activate. Now you're going to want to go to your email where you had received the product activation codes, and you're going to take the code, plug it in here, and click Activate, and then your plugin should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and activate mine, and we'll be right back. And just a quick note, you're going to have to open each one of the plugins and copy and paste your activation code into it to activate it and get it going. But once you've done that, everything should be good to go, and you should be able to click on this plus, come to your VST, and use any one of the products that you've purchased. All right, so we're here in DaVinci Resolve, and we're going to work our way through these different plugins here and see how they work. So the first clip that I'm going to have for each one of our plugins is going to be the file that came from Accusonus. So this is going to be their clip they provided as a sample. Then I'm going to have a clip of myself doing a real world test so we can see how these plugins work on a real world clip. So the first one we're going to get started with is the D-Clipper. So I'm going to go ahead, come over and open up both my D-Clippers since I have my two sets of audio on different channels. And just a real quick overview of the D-Clipper here. You see we have an on-off button. You have an on-off button for your output. And on this output meter, you have the option to boost or reduce the amount of output that comes through this effect. In the middle here, you have declip, so it's either off or on. And then you have two different types of declipping that you can use. If it doesn't work well with the first one, try number 2 and see how that works. Down at the bottom here, we have quality, and you have standard, which is what I've been using, or high. The high quality may bog down your machine a little bit, so if you're going to need the high quality, maybe only turn it on when you go to export your files. So I typically use standard. So now we're going to take a look at these examples, and I'm going to play through them without the declipper turned on, and then we're going to turn the declipper on and go back and play through it again. And real quick, one thing I did notice with the declipper in particular was that the audio tracks, while they were playing, seemed to stutter a little bit or kind of be a little bit choppy. And I didn't notice that in any exports, but right here, when I'm going to play through it, you may notice that. So that is one thing that I did notice that only seemed to happen with the declipper. So let's play through these clips. I'm going to go ahead and select my range here. And we're going to go ahead and play through these clips with no declipper applied first.
Please remember to pat the dough out starting in the center and slowly press it out to the edge of the pan.
Boosted up the audio a little bit higher here just to make sure we're getting some clipping so we can see if the declipper will take care of this. So there, you can hear they're definitely clipping both files. So now I'm going to go ahead and just turn on the declipper for both of them. And I haven't made any changes to the declipper. This is just the settings that it comes up with when you load it up as an effect. So we have them both turned on, and let's hear how they sound now.
Please remember to pat the dough out starting in the center and slowly press it out to the edge of the pan.
Boosted up the audio a little bit higher here just to make sure we're getting some clipping so we can see if the declipper will take care of this. So you can see it definitely took care of some of that clipping. It doesn't sound like it's peaking as much, but like I mentioned, you did see a little bit of that jittery audio or stuttering audio there, and I think it's just because of the way the declipper processes the audio while it's playing it. So I thought that was interesting, but the declipper does seem to work in both tests. So the next plugin that we're going to take a look at is the De-Esser. And I generally always put a De-Esser on my audio tracks, so I was curious to see how well this De-Esser did. Again, in the De-Esser window here, if we take a quick look, you have the on-off button, the same on-off button for your output. You have one dial in the middle that determines the amount of de-essing that the plugin will do. So the default is set at 40%, so I'm going to leave it there. You have your level output. Up here, you have a couple little dots that tell you when the plugin is working. And down towards the bottom here, you have different modes. You have a narrow mode, normal, and broad, as well as an intense mode where it kind of makes everything sound a little more intense, you could say. So generally, I just keep it on normal. And then this line down here, you're going to see our audio coming through the line, and you're going to see a different color where the effect is being applied. So before we try these out, let's go ahead and play through our two clips with no effects and see how that sounds.
Thanks for listening. And remember to always eat your greens. Cheers!
Here's a sample for the De-Esser. A little Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Let's see if the De-Esser can get rid of some of these harsh S's. Okay, so we definitely heard the S's there. Now I'm going to leave all of the settings for the plugin at their default settings. I'm just going to turn it on. Now we're going to play through and we can watch the graphs here to see how it's affecting our waveforms. And let's just listen in and see how it sounds.
Thanks for listening. And remember to always eat your greens. Cheers!
Here's a sample for the De-Esser. A little Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Let's see if the De-Esser can get rid of some of these harsh S's. So I noticed it did do a little bit, and I noticed it wasn't playing through here. Usually it'll play through as we're watching it. But I did notice it made a little bit of a difference, but not too much. So we're going to crank this up a little bit to maybe 60% and see how that sounds. Let's do that for both of them and just play through, see how that sounds now.
Thanks for listening. And remember to always eat your greens. Cheers!
Here's a sample for the De-Esser, a little Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Let's see if the De-Esser can get rid of some of these harsh S's. So it does sound like it's working there, and just for fun, when you crank this guy all the way up, it does make you sound kind of funny. So let's play that and listen to how it sounds with the De-Esser cranked all the way up.
Thanks for listening, and remember to always eat your greens. Cheers!
Here's a sample for the De-Esser, a little Sally sells seashells at the seashore. Let's see if the De-Esser can get rid of some of these harsh S's. I just think that's funny. That's great. I love that. So anyway, you can see the De-Esser works a little bit. Does it work as good as some of the tools in Resolve? I don't know, but it does make a little bit of a difference. It's minor, but it does help a little bit. So that's the De-Esser. Next up, we have the noise removal tool. And again, right here at the top, we have our on-off button. We have an on-off button for our output boosting if we want to boost or cut our output. Here you've got your levels, your big dial in the middle that's going to tell you the amount of noise reduction that's going to happen. Again, it's set at 40% when you open it up. This little toggle button here, and I may have forgot to mention this in the other ones, you can set two different settings. So let's say I want A to look like this, and then I come to B and I want to use this one. So now I can toggle back and forth between the two, see how they work, and see which one I like better. Down here at the bottom under focus, you've got different methods of noise removal. You have your auto method right here. You have reducing the highs, you have reducing the lows, reducing the highs and lows, as well as reducing the mids. So I usually use the auto one. It seems to do a good job and kind of do what I need. So first, let's go through our clips without using any noise removal. Again, the first clip here is going to be the Accusonus sample clip. And then I've got two real-world clips that I created that we're going to listen to next. So let's play through these and hear how they sound with no noise remover.
If you like this week's episode, send us a message on our Facebook page. Every week, I will personally pick the best comments and read them out on the show.
All right, looking for a little background noise here. See if the noise remover can take care of this background noise. I'm outside, got some birds, some ambient noise. Let's see if it'll take this out. All right, down here in my studio, we've got some background noise of the dryer going right next to me over here. And we're going to see if we can remove that background noise using the noise remover. So there you go. That's the clips with no noise remover applied. Now I'm just going to use the default settings of processing at 40%. I'm going to use those, play through the clips, and let's see how much of a difference it makes. So let's go ahead and turn those on and play through our clips.
If you like this week's episode, send us a message on our Facebook page. Every week, I will personally pick the best comments and read them out on the show.
All right, looking for a little background noise here. See if the noise remover can take care of this background noise. I'm outside, got some birds, some ambient noise. Let's see if it'll take this out. All right, down here in my studio, we've got some background noise of the dryer going right next to me over here. And we're going to see if we can remove that background noise using the noise remover. Okay, so now I just want to play through the noise part here in the beginning of the clip because it's a little hard to tell unless you hear it back to back. So I'm going to turn it off and then turn it on through this part of the clip. So you can hear it definitely removes some of that noise in the clip here in the beginning once you turn it on. But I would say that for this sample file that came from Accusonus, I think it needs more noise reduction. But when you come to the clip that I created, my real world clip, I feel like it needs less because it kind of sounds a little funky. So I'm going to bring my playhead over here and let's just play through this noise part. And I could still hear the birds in the background, which I'm okay with that, but most of the rest of the noise was out of there. So let's play through and just hear that noise remover on and off in this section. So it definitely reduces it, but let's crank this up to say 60% just to see how it handles the noise. I don't think that works well with the voice part, but just the noise part. So you can hear the difference there for sure. But like I mentioned, when I play through my voice, it doesn't sound good when it's cranked up. So let's hear 60% and see how that sounds. Background noise. I'm outside, got some birds, some ambient noise. Let's see. It sounds a little funky to me. So let's bring this down to say 25% and see how that sounds with my voice. Noise here, see if the noise remover can take care of this background noise. I'm outside, got some birds, some ambient noise. Let's see if it'll take this out. All right, and let's just try it with it off again. If the noise remover can take care of this background noise. I'm outside, got some birds, some ambient noise. Let's see if it'll take this out. So it definitely does a good job of removing some of that background noise, but I feel like it still makes my voice sound a little funky, a little tinny, I would say. I don't know how else to describe it. So there may be some other things that I could do to kind of compensate for that. But I mean, the noise removal is working. And if you're okay with the way your voice sounds after, I think it works out pretty good. And it definitely works good in the areas where there's no talking and we just want to remove that background noise. And if we come over to, let's try the dryer noise here, see how that sounds. If I turn it up, you can see it almost removes all that noise right there. But how does it sound with my voice? And we're going to see if we can remove that background noise using the noise remover. I think it sounds a little better on this one. I don't think I need it cranked up that high, but you get the idea. It does work pretty good. I think you may just need to be careful on how it works with different audio clips when you're talking. And just so you guys know, I was using a Rode lav mic for all of my real world tests. So it's not the best mic. It doesn't sound as good as the one I'm using right now to record this part of the video. Maybe that has an effect on how the voice sounds when you're using some of these plugins. All right, up next we have the Plosive Remover. And just to run over the Plosive window really quickly, again, you have your on-off button at the top. You've got an on-off button here for your output gain or reduction if you want that. You have your big knob in the center here that allows you to adjust the amount of processing for your Plosive Remover. You have your levels over here. On the top, you've got little lights that'll light up here that'll tell you when the plugin is working. Down here we have mode, you have A and B, just like in the previous example where you can set two different settings and compare them. You have normal at the bottom and extreme. So I guess it depends on your file, how extreme are your plosives. In my case, I generally use normal and that seems to work out okay. So first let's play through our clips without any Plosive Remover, see how that sounds, and then we'll turn on the Plosive Remover and you can hear the difference.
Please remember to pat the dough out starting in the center and slowly press it out to the edge of the pan.
Here's a plosive test. Not sure how well this microphone is going to pick up any pops. Might have to try with the other microphone, but here's a pop, 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 pop. Let's see if we can remove the plosives.
Please.
Okay, so there we go with the plosives. Let's turn on our plosive filter. Again, all the settings are at the default settings when you load up the plugin. So now let's play through and see how it sounds.
Please remember to pat the dough out starting in the center and slowly press it out to the edge of the pan.
Here's a plosive test. Not sure how well this microphone is going to pick up any pops. Might have to try with the other microphone, but here's a pop, 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 pop. Let's see if we can remove the plosives. Okay, so we can tell it's working. I might say on the clip of my real world test, I may need to crank that up a little bit. So let's say I go up to, I don't know, 66%, and let's see how it sounds with that. Here's a plosive test. Not sure how well this microphone is going to pick up any pops. Might have to try with the other microphone, but here's a pop, 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 pop. Let's see if we can remove the plosives. So it does seem to help. It does make a difference and knock back those plosives a little bit. So that's the Plosive Remover plugin. All right, next up, we've got the Reverb Remover. And if you've ever filmed in a room that has no soundproofing, maybe it's just got blank walls, no carpet, or a larger room where sound just bounces all over, you've definitely dealt with reverb before. So just running over the reverb window here, you have your on-off button for your output, either gain or reduction. You've got your main dial to adjust your processing. And down below here, you have an option to auto adjust the output, which I usually leave turned on. You've got your A/B switch here to go between settings. And then down here, you've got a couple different methods of processing your audio clip. So you can try whichever one you want. I generally leave it on this first one, and it seems to do a good job. So first, we're going to play through the Accusonus clip, and then we're going to play through my real world test clip. So let's play those and hear how they sound with the reverb.
Eventually, no system could keep pace with the decimal or Arabic number system, which has 10 numerals, the digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point.
All right, here's our sample clip for removing reverb. Probably in the garage. Here's the best place I have to get some reverb. So there's our sample clips, no reverb remover applied. One thought I had was that the sample file from Accusonus sounds like the reverb was added in post, as opposed to being in a big room where it's echoing. I don't know if that's true or not. It just sounded really clean to be reverb from a room, but who knows? So now we're going to try turning on the Reverb Remover and see how it sounds. So go ahead and turn these on. Again, these are at the default settings. And let's play through and hear how that sounds.
Eventually, no system could keep pace with the decimal or Arabic number system, which has 10 numerals, the digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point.
All right, here's our sample clip for removing reverb. Probably in the garage. Here's the best place I have to get some reverb. So you can still hear the reverb in there, and I'm going to crank this up more. Let's go to, say, 75% and just see how that sounds. Let's crank them both up there, and let's play through again, see if we notice more of a difference here.
Eventually, no system could keep pace with the decimal or Arabic number system, which has 10 numerals, the digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point.
All right, here's our sample clip for removing reverb. Probably in the garage. Here's the best place I have to get some reverb. All right, so that definitely works when I crank them up a little bit higher. You can notice that it is removing more of that reverb. I think you would just have to play with the settings for your particular clip to see what sounds the best and what makes the most sense. I think with my real world test here, I think it made the audio sound a little wonky, but I think you can adjust the settings and compensate for that. The Reverb Remover seems to do a good job here of removing reverb. All right, the last and final plugin that we have here is the Voice Leveler. So this plugin is going to basically take your quiet parts and your loud parts of your audio track and kind of bring them closer together, almost like boosting the makeup of your audio a little bit and throwing on some compression. So that way the quiet parts aren't really quiet and the loud parts aren't really loud. The Voice Leveler kind of levels everything for you. So taking a quick look at the plugin window, again, the on-off switch for your plugin, the on-off switch for your output, your main dial to adjust your processing, your levels over here, and on the bottom we have different modes. You can do normal or tight. You have an emphasis button, which they say is good for like podcasting, just kind of emphasizes your voice more. And you have breath control. I think it helps with when you take breaths between your words or your sentences so you don't get as much of a, which happens to me all the time. But maybe that's just because I'm from Jersey and I talk too fast. Anyway, let's try out these two clips here. The first one is going to be from Accusonus, and the second will be my real-world clip.
Fit for yes or fit for no? Thou, whatever light may shine, no man on your face shall see any grief for change on mine.
So this is a test for the Voice Leveler. I'm going to talk a little quiet here, and then I'm going to talk a little louder and see how the Voice Leveler does. I also want to try with the microphone a little farther away and coming a little bit closer and see how the Voice Leveler does with that. So let's see how it works. Okay, so you heard the differences there. When you look at your waveforms here, you see some are taller than others. So the Voice Leveler is going to kind of level out all these waveforms here to just make your audio more consistent. So now let's go ahead, use the default settings, turn on the Voice Leveler, and listen to how this sounds.
Fit for yes or fit for no? Thou, whatever light may shine, no man on your face shall see any grief for change on mine.
So this is a test for the Voice Leveler. I'm going to talk a little quiet here, and then I'm going to talk a little louder and see how the Voice Leveler does. I also want to try with the microphone a little farther away and coming a little bit closer and see how the Voice Leveler does with that. So let's see how it works. So you can definitely hear a difference. It definitely sounded like they were a little more even. And even on the track of my real world test here, I may want to just make it a little bit louder and play that again and see how the Voice Leveler does there. Let's try that real quick. Voice Leveler. I'm going to talk a little quiet here, and then I'm going to talk a little louder and see how the Voice Leveler does. I also want to try with the microphone a little farther away and coming a little bit closer, and so I can see it definitely makes a difference there. And if I turn this up even more, it's probably going to help more. Just try it again real quick. Leveler. I'm going to talk a little quiet here, and then I'm going to talk a little louder and see. And you can see where I talk quieter and louder. It definitely evens it all out, and you can see it right here on the waveforms in the plugin. All right, guys, so there you go. There's a run through of all the plugins that Accusonus provided for me. So what do I think? Summing this up, I think that they're actually pretty good. I think they do a good job. I think you may need to make adjustments to some of the default settings, which is to be expected, but I think they do a pretty good job of a one-click or one-dial solution to make your audio sound better and more professional. Now, can you do all this stuff in DaVinci Resolve without the plugins? Sure, you can. You just need a little more knowledge of how to use your EQ, how to use your dynamics, use your compressor, and other various plugins that come with DaVinci Resolve. You can accomplish the same things. It just may take you a little longer to do it, and you may need a little more knowledge on how to adjust the settings to get your audio to sound more professional. So I would love to hear what you guys thought. Could you hear a difference in some of these plugins? What do you think? What are your thoughts? So drop a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to check out the description. Go sign up for the contest. Hey, maybe you'll win some of these cool plugins too, and then you can get your audio sounding more professional. So again, thank you to Accusonus, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.